What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and welcome back. Hope everyone's having a great day today. And today we're here for a book review. What? Hold on. Let me check the script. Is that right? A book review? We still do book reviews here? No, that's what it says. No. All kidding aside, it's been a while since I've done a book review. I think it's been like a month or so. So I have a stack of books I need to review over here. So we're getting back into it. But yes, today we're here for a book review. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. If you're new to the channel, I read a lot of indie and small press horror, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of sci-fi. So if any of that sounds like something you are interested in, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Check out some of the other content on the channel, and maybe you'll discover a book that you enjoy. But like I said, we're here for a book review, a long due book review. And today we're going to be talking about Highway 181 by D.S Ullery. So Highway 181, this is a collection of short stories, but I have my own sort of story to tell to set this up a little bit. So it was back in 2019, I believe. My family and I, we took the arduous 17-hour drive with 2 kids in the car down to Florida to the beach for vacation for a week. And on the way down there, the GPS, it guided us onto the Florida Turnpike, which was a toll road. And while we were driving on that dark, desolate strip of blacktop, it was after midnight. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, there was literally no other signs of human existence around us. There was no other traffic. There weren't any road signs or mile markers or, you know, this exit's coming up in so many miles. There weren't any other lights at all. Off in the distance, no lights from a house, no lights from a factory or whatever, no street lights. It was literally just pitch black all around, and it felt like we'd been almost transported to another time and place. Really, the only other signs of human existence were these sort of alien-like monolithic transmission towers, you know, those big, huge electrical towers that would sort of loom up out of the darkness, the shadows, as we would glide past them on the side of the road. And those were the only things that would break up sort of the monotonous, empty landscape that went on for miles and miles and miles. It felt like we were just driving down this dark tunnel forever. And it's sort of that conjured memory that bubbled up in my head while I was reading this collection, Highway 181 by D.S Ullery. This book also takes place in Florida, but just that road traveling into sort of nowhere, the unknown, if you will, that's what bubbled up in my head when I first started reading this. Sort of that desolate strip of blacktop, like I said, where anything could be lurking right around the bend, jumping out of the darkness and the shadows on the side of the road. Occasionally, you might come across a short story collection where all these stories are sort of loosely connected together. Maybe they're all based around a certain theme, maybe revenge or despair, or they're all ghost stories or something like that. But here with Highway 181, all of these stories are connected together by this cursed highway from whence the collection gets its name, this Highway 181. It's like this puckering asphalt scar that's slashed across the flesh of the state of Florida. This Highway 181, it acts as a conduit, this almost ley line, festering evil that corrupts anything it gets near, anything who dares travel down its hellish miles. I really dug that. That felt unique and different to me. Not that it's just a bunch of stories sort of thrown together, but they all were tied together with this Highway 181 as sort of the backdrop, this through line through every story, connecting them in some way, shape, or form. I really dug that. That felt different to me. I'm sure other people have done it before, having this central thing connect everything. But for me, this is the first time I can remember all the stories in a collection being tied together to this one particular thing, and I just really dug that. I thought that was pretty cool. Though all the stories collected here are linked together like the threads of a spider web, all spiraling back towards the center to this Highway 181, there is a great deal of variety and uniqueness on display here for all these stories. No 2 stories for me felt alike. We go from aliens to serial killers to black magic to bloodthirsty plants. D.S Ullery, the author, he does a really great job of tapping into these different facets of horror to satiate the reader's appetite for the creepy and the macabre and the unexplainable. His sort of natural ease of storytelling and sharp prose really pulls the reader along and has them diving into these these weird and bizarre and unexplainably horrific tales. Now, I did receive an ARC from the author for review consideration, and in saying that, I did want to mention that I did notice a few typos here and there throughout the collection. It was nothing glaring, nothing that pulled me out of the story or ruined my enjoyment of any of the stories. I will say this was an ARC, so those might have been corrected for the final version. I also wanted to mention, and this didn't have any bearing on my rating at all, this was more just sort of my bookish OCD. It made it tick a little bit, but at least in the ARC, there weren't any page numbers. You know, for some people, that might not matter in the least bit, but I'm weird, and I'm always looking ahead, counting ahead, how many pages are left in a chapter, how many pages in this story are left. It just, I don't know, it's something I do when I read. I really like to know how many pages I have left to sort of my next milestone, if that makes sense, the chapter break, or the end of a short story to the beginning of another story. So I just want to mention that there weren't any page numbers. Again, that might just be the ARC. The normal book might be different, but it didn't change my rating or enjoyment of it. It's just something I noticed. Like I said, my bookish OCD, I count pages a lot, and I wasn't able to do that since there weren't page numbers here. You know, I could have counted them out individually, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to spend my time reading the book. But I just wanted to mention those few things real quick, just because, you know, I like to keep it honest and give any criticisms that I might have about a book. There weren't any with this one really, other than a couple typos and the page numbers, but that was just a personal thing for me, not really a knock against the book. But let's dive back into the positive lane here, and I want to go over some of my favorite stories in the collection here. There were almost 20 stories total. There might be exactly 20. I think it's about 200 or so pages, so, you know, average 10 or so pages each. But my first one, I really like the prologue, the introduction to the collection, the prologue, August 1978. You know, right from the get-go, we see that this road has been cursed even while it was still under construction. So Highway 181, it's been cursed from the very moment any blacktop was laid down for any stretch of the miles and miles it would go on for. So I dug the prologue. Next one, the tape. This one was probably the trippiest of all the stories. And the moral of the story here is don't venture into abandoned houses, and definitely don't pick up any old camcorders. Next up, Delivery. A serial killer gets a heaping dose of cosmic horror style retribution. That one had a nice twist ending to it. I really dug that one. That one was fun. Pests. Two exterminators encounter more than they bargained for while killing, what are those? Those roaches? I don't know. You have to read and find out. Next one. It brings out the worst in you. A bit of black magic, maybe a little bit of voodoo possibly, and a sugarcane field. And like the title of this story says, this brings out the worst emotions in people. And then two more here. Passages. That one is about, and I want to be really vague with this one, but the power of the written word has the ability to change reality. And then the last one I wanted to mention is Trash Town. Leave something broken, take something new. Just be careful what broken thing you decide to offer up. So those were my standouts, my favorite stories here in the collection. But D.S Ullery, he has paved a sharp, twisty, and sinister collection of horrific short stories with this collection, Highway 181. Containing nearly 20 stories, there is a bit of horror here for everyone to enjoy. Gas up using the high-octane nightmare fuel, buckle up, and push the pedal to the metal as you speed down Highway 181 into the dark unknowns. That's been my review of Highway 181 by D.S Ullery. I'm giving it 3.5 stars, rounding up to 4 for Amazon and Goodreads. I enjoyed his stories a lot. This is my first ever experience with D.S Ullery. I know he has some other collections out there that I would like to check out as well. I did get this for review consideration, so thanks to the author for sending this along my way. That's all I have for you guys today. So that's been my 3.5 star review of Highway 181, a collection of horror short stories by D.S Ullery. Thank you all for spending your time with me today. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.